I'm Charles Kovess, Australasia's passion provocateur. Welcome to this week's episode of the Charles Kovess Show, whether you're watching on YouTube, on Rumble, or listening via one of the many podcast platforms. This is episode 187. Our format for the show is that I share today's big idea with you. I share 6 resources to help you implement today's big idea. I have a quick review of key happenings, but I think are key happenings during the week. And then the last part of the show covers the foundational principles of the show and more details about my background for newer viewers and listeners. So let's go with today's big idea. You are unique. You are a weirdo, as you have often heard me say. There is no one on earth like you. In previous shows, I have explored how the conscious mind, subconscious mind works, and the truth is that no person on the planet has had your experiences in life, even if you are an identical twin. No one has lived life like you. No one has had the identical experiences that you have had. There is no one of the 8 billion people on earth who has your special combination of talents, skills, experiences, imagination, relationships, and intelligence. And when you think about intelligence, there's 17 different types of intelligences. Let me run through the list. It's quite remarkable because you might think, oh no, I'm a dodo because I can't do A. Well, let me do this list of 17 different intelligences. Number 1, logical. Number 2, linguistic. Then we have visual intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, musical intelligence, spatial intelligence, emotional intelligence, often called EQ, spiritual intelligence, often called SQ, memory, mathematical intelligence, environmental intelligence, creativity, movement, dance intelligence, analytical intelligence, mechanical intelligence, building carpentry intelligence. I was thinking of the tradesman's intelligence. 17 different intelligences. So when you combine your life to date plus all of your intelligences, that leads to your ability to identify your unique superpower. What is the value that only you can add? Because not only are you unique or a weirdo, every person you deal with is unique or a weirdo. And when you get 2 weirdos getting together, you can add an amazing value. So what is that special, unique superpower that you have to add this super value? It's interesting to contemplate that God designed the universe this way. I believe in God, so I'm going to talk about God. God designed us, and of course, that's why we have conflicts between us. That's why we don't agree with each other, because each one of us experiences this life in amazingly different ways. So I say, embrace this. I say, stop resisting your superpower. You are meant to use your superpower to add value. That's why the self-awareness work that I do and the self-awareness and passion quest that I do is so important, because discovering this superpower unleashes your amazing ability to add value. If you don't know what it is, how can you possibly tell people about it? So you have to do the self-awareness work to discover this superpower. Then you have to decide, can you be passionate about using your superpower? I believe that using your superpower is the way in which you are going to have an amazing life. I urge you, the world wants you to offer your superpower. Be brave, be bold. Understand that not everyone wants your superpower, but there are people who do want your superpower. The bravery that I'm talking about is well shown in this weekend's Australian newspaper that I'm holding up. Have a look at this spectacular photo. I love it. Of Kathy Lett. Look at this 65-year-old, beautiful, attractive woman sitting there with, for those of you listening on a podcast, have a look at it, sitting there with the dress up around her navel, with her legs crossed. Spectacular shot. That's pretty brave to be willing to put that photo on the front page of the Australian newspaper. That's what you're meant to be doing with your superpower. Don't worry about the fact that 7.5 billion people don't want it, or even 8 billion. If only 1 million people, if only 1,000 people want your superpower, fantastic. Your job is to tell the world what that is so that these people who want your superpower can find you. One of my superpowers, of course, is drinking coffee. I honour the superpower of the coffee makers, Julie. That is such a joy. So, identify your superpower. Tell the world about your superpower, your special, unique superpower. And then add the value that your unique and weird and special superpower enables you to add. And then when you add that value, the rewards that you experience will be extraordinary. That's why the self-awareness and passion quest is so important, because it's the wake-up call to go, that's who I am, and that's the value that I want to add. It's a great way to live life. So, some resources. The song is by Bonnie Tyler this week, Holding Out for a Hero. And if you read these words for the prospective people for whom you want to add value, the chorus is, I'm not going to sing it because I can't sing Bonnie Tyler. I can sing Leonard Cohen. I can sing, lots of other people, Paul Robeson. But she goes, I need a hero. So think of your clients. If you're a dentist, think of the types of patients that you want. If you're a lawyer, if you're a musician, or if you're a carpenter, I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's got to be strong, and he's got to be fast, and he's got to be fresh from the fight. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the morning light. He's got to be sure, and he's got to be soon, and he's got to be larger than life. Larger than life for what these people want. It's just a great motivating song that goes, the world wants you. My book, well, the quote first, because the book will be relevant to the quote. And I'm a big Buckminster Fuller fan. Bucky Fuller was awarded 47 honorary doctorates before he died in 1983. And his quote is this: never forget that you are one of a kind. Never forget that if there weren't any need for you in all your uniqueness to be on this earth, you wouldn't be here in the first place. And never forget, no matter how overwhelming life's challenges and problems seem to be, that one person can make a difference in the world. In fact, it's always because of one person that all the changes that matter in the world come about. So be that one person. Brilliant, brilliant quote by Bucky Fuller. And the book, therefore, is one of Bucky's famous books, Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth. My spiritual tip is to meditate on your life journey, to work to identify what your unique superpower is. From your experiences in life, where's the place where you can add your unique value because you apply your unique superpower? My health tip is to go and get your food at local markets as much as possible. Stop doing it through the mainstream supermarket chains. There are many, many local markets around. Go to those local markets, go to local growers, go to organic growers, and use cash. We must use cash. Do not fall for the trap of doing everything in digital. And every time I use cash, I tell the shopkeeper, I'm using cash, I want you to use cash, and they all agree. And I urge them, put a sign up there, we love cash. So local markets, organic produce, using cash. So spot of humour, this tickled my fancy because we've just gone through the Lunar New Year and we've gone through Valentine's Day. Well, and then I've also been watching an interesting Netflix series with Julie called "Fool Me Once" that we recommend. It's amazing, and it's the upper shall we say the upper levels of society in England, wasn't it? So this spot of humour tickled my fancy. His lordship came out for the morning stroll and he tripped over a wheelbarrow. He spoke to the gardener. Where the devil did that thing come from? He demanded. I left it there last night, said the gardener. That was a damn silly thing to do. What were you doing with the wheelbarrow at the front door? The gardener smiled. You ought to know, sir. You were in it. There you are. How many times have you been wiped out and ended up in a wheelbarrow? I have never done that. And nor have I ever drunk so much that I have ever not been aware of what I'm doing. So that's not bad in the context of all of the alcohol that I've drunk in my life. All right, there's the resources for you to be inspired to identify your unique superpower and give it to the world, as Buckminster Fuller says. I invite you to subscribe to this show, to share it with your family, with your friends, with your work colleagues, to visit our websites, charlescovest.com for the self-awareness and passion quest if you want help to identify your superpower, and covest.com for public programs. My books, Passionate People Produce and Passionate Performance, are also available on those two websites. Now, a couple of thoughts on key happenings during the week. My guest on TNT Radio in the Mind Medicine program, and I urge you to listen, and you can watch TNT Radio now because it's both audio and video. My guest on 18th of February is Beverly Pinder, OAM, which is an Australia government award. Beverly is a wonderful, wonderful contributor to the planet, former Melbourne City Councillor. So I'm speaking to her. Last week I spoke to Linda Joy Ben. All of these interviews are recorded. There's some wonderful, wonderful resources on those recordings. I continue to urge everybody to track Dictator Dan. I call him Dick Dan. I don't want Daniel Andrews to ever be comfortable. I want him to pay a price for the rest of his life for the disgraceful impact he has had on Victoria, and I want all the premiers who behaved so abominably in taking away our human rights over the last 4 years in Australia, and indeed premiers and leaders from all around the world, to pay a price for their outrageous behaviour. What that means is every one of us should shine a light on their activities and also punish companies that dare to pay them money. I also want legal action taken against Daniel Andrews and such premiers for their breaches of law, particularly criminal actions that they took. And I say they took criminal actions, particularly with the lies that they told. They misbehaved in public office, and then that would stop them getting their retirement benefits. They don't deserve any retirement benefits for the destruction that they have wreaked upon our nation and many nations around the world. The Prime Minister got engaged this week. Big deal. I say that's a distraction. I get no great connection between the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, and his girlfriend. He is a shocking Prime Minister. This government is doing enormous harm to Australia. Chris Bowen is the Environmental Minister with renewable energy, doing enormous harm. The attacks on our agricultural sector is outrageous right around the world. The attacks on the food supply chain in the name of a nonsense climate emergency. I urge farmers to wake up and not destroy their lands by putting in ridiculous solar facilities on that land that destroys that land and will destroy Australia's economy. I say that's a deliberate plan. Wake up, everybody. This is not being done for your welfare. So the answer is, do not comply with nonsense. Do not comply with BS. Question hard your politicians. Our politicians no longer deserve to be believed. They must prove everything they say, and we need to speak up about their activities. I'm passionate about preserving the wonderful elements of Australia, and we are being told a bunch of lies. It's up to us. We are responsible for Australia's future. I've said that in every speech that I've said over the last 30 years. We are responsible. Don't leave it to other people. And in the meantime, be happy. Whilst I'm passionate about all these activities that I'm involved in as a freedom warrior, I am happy now. Julie's happy with her life. You can be happy in the midst of pursuing these important issues. So if you're new to the show, stick around. I'll go through the foundational principles of this show and background about me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a week full of passion, of ever-increasing self-awareness, of the willingness to share your superpower, and enjoy your week in the midst of the challenges that you face, that I face, that we all face. Thanks for being here. See you next week. Bye. And now, for viewers and listeners who want to know more about my background and what else I do with my life, as well as the foundational principles of the show, here we are. Since 1993, when I left my legal career, a career that I love, to become Australasia's passion provocateur, I have inspired and provoked and educated and motivated people all over the world to discover and pursue their passion. I have helped people via the books that I've written, via speeches at conferences, via in-depth team building programs, workshops over 1, 2 or 3 days, or over 3 months, 6 months. And I've coached people of all ages, one-on-one, from small, medium and large enterprises, government enterprises, helping them to identify the often tiny changes that can make a massive difference. One of my core principles is that freedom is what makes us truly human. That's why one of the greatest threats that government imposes on you to force you to observe its laws is the threat of imprisonment, the loss of your freedom. Just think about that. Government says if you don't behave yourself, we're going to put you in jail. No, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to lose my freedom. That's a reminder to you of why freedom is so important. Without freedom, you and I are not much different to animals. If you were locked up in a cage for the rest of your life, how different would you be to an animal? This commitment to fighting for freedoms for all people is carried out by me primarily through 5 channels. Number 1, preserving the freedom to pursue your passion. Number 2, inspiring you to be able to be free through excellent health. Number 3, helping preserve freedom throughout the world through the expansion of industrial hemp, a magnificent agricultural crop, an almost miraculous crop that enables every community to thrive independently of government. In this way, the power of government to take away freedom is minimized. Number 4, fighting for freedom through legal strategies. So I do work as a legal strategy consultant, as an interface between clients and their lawyers. And number 5, as chairman of the Australian Institute of Comedy and as a board member of the Australian Cartoon Museum, fighting for the freedom of thought and speech through uncensored comedy and humour, through avoiding political correctness in the comedic space. When you block freedom of speech, freedom of thought, that's the beginning of the end of your freedoms. The foundational principles for the Charles Kovess Show are founded on the formula SA plus P equals S. Your self-awareness added to your passion will guarantee that you are successful. And the best definition of success I have found in life is that success is the progressive realization of your worthy ideals. The progressive realization of your worthy ideals. This show is also guided by Socrates' famous principle and quote, "The unexamined life is not worth living." You can see I'm wearing my red jacket. I wear my red jacket for all my shows. Red is the colour of passion, so that when you see me on the YouTube version, it reminds you that when you see red in your life, you ask yourself the question, am I pursuing my passion? What am I passionate about? Am I still passionate about that? What might I newly be passionate about? Each week I explore one big idea that can change your life. And it's just one big idea because there's a chance you will remember it. If I give you too many ideas, then we get confused and we don't do anything. Clarity leads to power. Confusion kills passion. Each week I share simple and practical resources that you've heard me describe in the earlier part of the show. A spiritual tip, a health tip, lyrics of a song, a book, a quote, and of course humour. This show is not politically correct. I have no intention of being politically correct. And I love certain addictions, including my addiction to great coffee, my addiction to exercise, my addiction to reading, and my addiction to certain other unmentionable in public type behaviours. Who would know what they are? This show definitely subscribes to the view that we have a spiritual life. So if you don't like discussion of spirituality, this show is not for you. I promise you that I don't include anything in this show that I don't consider to be true and that I have not found to be useful in the work that I've done over the past 28 years, but also over the past 50 years in business, as a lawyer, as a consultant advisor. I only want to share stuff with you that is of value to you. Finally, if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to contact me at charles@kovess.com. Again, thanks for watching and listening to my show. Bye.